Well, hello, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It's a good Friday, too. Well, I think for some of us anyway, it's a good Friday. But hope everything's going good for you guys. You know, it's something interesting I thought I'd share with you guys tonight is that, I typically try to come up with enough content to last about an hour for the good news and then about an hour for what goes on about the homestead. And I try to, kind of divide it up a little bit. And, there have been times in the last, few years where there just wasn't a lot going on that week. And I struggled to come up with enough content to, have lots of conversations with. Today is not that day. There's so
you have enough to talk about.
Oh my goodness, we could do a 6-hour live, a 10-hour live probably, and never run out of stuff to talk about. There's so much stuff going on.
I'm not in for a marathon now.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to do that because I would be wore out by then. But at the same time, let's get some hellos in here real quick. Squatchy, what's up, buddy? Starlit Oak, welcome in. Instigator, how are you? The greatest name on the internet is in the house. Good to see you. Skanes Girl, how are you, my friend? Songs of Joy, welcome in. Jane, good evening. Back at you. Let's see here. Carrie Davis says, hunker down in Northwest Arkansas. Terminator, happy Friday to you. Jesus, welcome in. Nostra Dumbass, I'm going to say it the old way. Welcome in. Let's see here. Kent says, hey, everybody, I'm ready to be unprogrammed. I don't know if I can get unprogrammed. I don't even know what to believe anymore, Kent, to be honest. Oh, this is a good one. So Carrie Davis says, oh, my goodness, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh, it is.
Yep. Carrie, do you know why Friday the 13th is Friday the 13th? Why it's seen as that? Do you know why? You know what the history is?
That movie?
No, in 1307, King Philip of France issued arrest warrants for the Knights Templar.
Okay.
And which is what's so ironic about that. I don't know if you guys know this either, but when Israel struck Iran last night, for them, it was Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. And you think about the Knights Templar, Christianity, Israel, right? Anyway, I often wonder if those things are, done on purpose. Anyway, Half Bubble Off Plum picked up 13 yards of mulch today. Congratulations on that. Let's see here. Life with Mike and Jen. Jen, good evening to you. Yeah, Jen says it's hard to decide what to pay attention to. Yeah, yes, it is. Dana Green, good to see you. Beth Emily, hello. Betsy De La Rosa. Good evening to you. Kelly May, welcome in. Marsha Newsom, hi from hot Arizona. I bet it is hot, too. Mm-hmm. And Ricky Dicky Doodog Grimes has joined us tonight as Bird's Eye View Homestead. Good to see both of you.
Hello.
Let's see here. Yeah, Nostradamus says bad day to be a Knights Templar. Yep. We are watching from our barn house. Nice and cool, says Louise. How cool is that? Winning, right? Winning. Jesus says Friday the 13th, I had to go to work at 6 a.m. That's bad enough. Laugh out loud. And my buddy Indiana Mike's in the house. How are you? Good to see you, bud. And American Roots Farm is in the house. So yeah, what a incredible, incredible. I don't know, that's not even the right word. Just mesmerizing last handful of days. There's just so much craziness going on, and for someone who lives like we live, and like how many of you guys live out there, it's hard not to become distracted by it and stay focused on what you're doing. But if you don't pay a little bit of attention to it, then how do you know what you're supposed to be doing?
You don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like this incredible, mix. Jamie's in the house. Good to see you. Tambra, welcome in. Terminator says, tag, I have Jennifer from Northern Girl Hobbies coming to visit me and walk my property. Oh, how cool is that? I love it when you guys connect.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super, super cool. So anyway, we're just going to continue on. We're going to talk about all the things going on at the homestead and things we're working on and the struggles we're having. And then we'll talk about good news, and then you wish you all well. And
are we having struggles?
Well, there's always struggles, babe. I mean, there's, you talk
getting
about
it all done.
You talk about you having an infestation in your turkeys. You got to go deal with.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, I come up with a bunch of little things like that. Right. And it's just part of dealing with this life. Right. I mean, it's normal. There's nothing abnormal, but there's plenty abnormal going on around the world. Hey, my buddy Mo's in the house. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Hey, Stan. Good to see you as well. Lisa, welcome in. So anyway, why don't you start us off on some of the stuff you've been working on?
Well,
because
you said the infestation of my turkeys, which I
They're-
didn't even get on the list. So we'll just start right there.
Okay.
I have like every single summer-ish, every year, I go through this period where I have like little bugs of either the clear ones or the black ones or the gray ones or the ones that are clear and then they consume, and then when you smash them they're bloody. So anyway, usually there's like a plethora of pests that can happen in the coops, and this time it's not the chicken coop, it's the turkey coop, and the turkey coop has a dirt floor, so I've never had an issue in there before. But this year I have a guinea in there that will not leave a box. And so I started, there's a bunch of loose dirt, poop, loose material on the ground in there. And so I swept it with a push broom, the dirt, all the loose stuff out. And then I got that guinea, and that guinea is not an easy bird to deal with. I have never had an issue being able to put my hands inside underneath a bird to get the eggs out or a bird challenging me. But there's this guinea in the turkey coop that has made a nest and stayed in this box for all spring. And so now it's to the point where when I go in there to get the eggs, I take a claw and I just push her out of the box with it. And then when she gets out of the box, she gets down on the ground and she lifts her feathers up at me, and she like goes from side to side and she hisses at me. And so
how did she do that again?
I ended up throwing a bucket at her to get her out of the way, because she was like, she would run up at me and then stop, and then like crouch backwards, and then like run up at me, and I would like, don't you do it, and then she'd be like crouch backwards. And so I've got to get her out of the turkey coop, like out. I got to get her out of being broody in the turkey coop is the problem. So I took a bunch of mint. I got a bunch of mint in the wagon.
Out of the food forest.
And I'm going to cut it into pieces, and I'm going to throw it all in there in hopes to get down the load of stuff I don't want in there. And usually I'll take whatever I have on hand. So like if there's a plethora of onions or garlic or rosemary or thyme or oregano, mint, anything like that, I'll strip the leaves off of it, anything that smells, and throw it in the nesting boxes, put it on the ground, put it just in the coop, wherever.
If you're just looking for what smells, just leave their shit in there.
And no, it's not that kind of a smell. No, you got to get, first of all, you got to get all that out of there before you can start trying to change the situation. But anyway, that's what I do. I would be open to any kind of other alternatives. I don't like the DE all over the place, because I try to collect all the yucky and put it in the compost, and all of the DE into the compost, I guess, changes the whatever. I'm not good at composting anyway. My compost sucks. I need green material is what I've been told. I need to like bag my green material and stick it in there, because usually it's all dead stuff and poop.
Hey, I want to welcome in Tulip Little Angel. Good to see you. Silver Lining, good to see you. We were just talking about you.
Hello.
And for anybody that don't know, Silver Lining's a fabulous human being. Jen says, chicken meat and egg shortage from the big kill-offs, canned goods from supply chain issues, war on multiple fronts, more cyber attacks, and mostly peaceful protests. What did I miss? How about a gross violation of the constitutional rights of Americans? How about a new pandemic they're claiming is here? How about those two? Got any other ones you want to add?
I don't like either of those. We should flip a different coin.
Okay. Let's keep it trucking here. Hey, Karen, welcome in. Karen says found another source of compost. Got some when they came down. They're willing to deliver a load to my orchard. We got up to 60 today and got a gentle rain. That's nice.
Very good.
Dana Green loves your tank top, babe. Let's see here.
Thank you.
And Karen says, I have an extension agent coming to plant ID at my places, so I'll know what's edible and medicinal. Wonderful. Hey, no lives complete without a
Pack rat.
Pack rat is in the house. Good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Dana says, when I get a commercial on your channel, I have to leave the channel and come back to it. Just blanks out. What the F? Well, I'm going to tell you, they clearly don't like me. I've had lots of issues with YouTube. I get lots of heat from them, but I don't know how to change it unless I just, what's the point of having a YouTube channel? You know? Anyway, let's see here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Gary Davis says, how about a squirt gun? I use dried peppermint in the chicken coop.
Mm-hmm. Peppermint. I like peppermint.
Clearly.
And I have right now a lot of it.
Yeah, Nostradamus, Babylon Bee headline, most cars in LA not on fire today. Yeah, thank goodness, right? Yeah. Let's see here. Leela, welcome in. I think I'm caught up. Yeah, Jesus says all good stuff on the 2025 bingo card, though. Laugh out loud. Too bad I don't have time to make a bingo card. There's some truth to that, too.
What was that flower? Oh, okay. Just reminded me the purple little flower in my borage.
I have a picture of
it. Bloomed.
It bloomed. What's next?
So beautiful. Well, today I replanted pepper plants in the garden.
Yeah, why'd you have to replant them?
They just keep coming up missing. I have no idea where they're going. When I let the dog in today, the dog did chase a rabbit out of there. So I don't know. And I saw where it went, but I don't have any. I went over to where it was, where I saw it go out, and I have no idea how it got out because there's chicken wire and it goes all the way to the ground and it's pinned down. So I'm like, how did it get? I just watched it go, and I'm like, it's like a fake wall. Where did it go out? I have no idea how it got through the chicken wire. This rabbit went through the chicken wire like Houdini. It did. How do I stop that?
Your dog's in a gun.
Well, the dog did chase after it, chased it out of there.
Tamber Smith says the voles get her plants.
So my plants they're just gone. There's no dead plant there. There's no broken off plant there. There's nothing chewed off. The entire thing is gone. There's not a hole in the ground. It's just gone. Like I didn't even plant it in the first place.
And Zeus says, oh, my borage is still growing this year, but that's what my pick is. Love the color changes. Yeah. Mo says Wallapini. I can't put everything in a Wallapini.
Think about a Wallapini right now. All of my irons are in the fire. All of them. I have a few borrowed irons that are in the fire. And I cannot spare any more irons.
Yeah.
The firebox is full. So something else, there's no bugs on the potato plants. Finally.
That was interesting.
The very first time that I have gone up there to tend to them from the road, I saw there were spots on them, and I thought, oh no, I need to go back, get the weed eater and get the vacuum, and ran back home, got what I needed, went back up to the orchard, went over to the potatoes, and they were not bugs. They were not the potato bugs on there. They were just some wilted spots on the leaves, which it's been really hot. So I'm hoping it's that. But sorry.
Tamara says that the voles will pull it from underneath the ground.
I just take it right away. So something is coming up in the turkey coop. I was going to tell you. I have not seen this before. The ground is like lifted up. There's like a tunnel of lifted up dirt.
Chemtrails.
Not chemtrails in
Harp.
the earth.
Harp pointed at us, babe.
It's coming up from the ground. I need to get a trap of something.
Yeah. Mike 100% for the win. Yeah, that is some truth stuff right there. Jen says we had mutant ninja rabbits at our last house. They would climb up the fence above the chicken wire and get in. I've never seen that before. Hey, David, Sonia, Michigan. How are you? Good to see you. Brian Jacob, how's Michigan? Good to see you. Let me go make sure you got everybody here. Yeah, okay. Jen says, Indiana Mike, dude, so last week. Planetary deal is a big deal, man. I mean, you're centralizing all of our information into one database. That is the absolute data input for social credit score. That's all bad. Paper voting. Anyway, go ahead. Or I'll just start ranting.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
So anyway, there were no potato bugs on the potatoes for the first time. Sweet potatoes look great. So far, I think most things look pretty good. Lots of weeds. Lots of things that shouldn't be where they are. But I can't tend to everything all the time. Finally got the backyard mowed. There were spots of some of the grass that were like as tall as my chest. My mower worked just fine after you put the new belt on. I knew something wasn't right because it would just spin and it was real quiet when it like the blade engaged. And so you took it in and figured out it was the belt. Mm-hmm. The belt was just too loose. So new belt, and I was back up and running. I still get a flat tire, so I gotta fix that. I got a slow leak. Started weed eating, got half of the dam done, which, by the way, is not sustainable. We got to figure out something else to do. That's ridiculous. We should not be doing that. I should not be doing that. Mm-hmm. We got to figure out something else.
Yep.
I got half of it done. Can you see it back there?
No, they can't see it.
But also got the like 0 entry area all weeded, and there were some pretty big snakes there that I was not happy to see. They were like grayish, brownish colored.
Jen says, and Bank of America allowed another hack with a block on one of our accounts, transitioning to another local bank. Mind blown at the incompetence. Yeah, Google got hacked this week too.
Saw that.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm just keeping up with the comments.
Even with the block on the account, they got hacked.
Yeah, I think incompetence is a good word.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Started vacuuming out the pantry at the community building. Mm-hmm. Tag all of his building equipment, tools out of there. So.
And finished it.
Yes, because it wasn't finished. There was one whole side that wasn't finished. So got all the cabinets vacuumed out. We're going to paint them. And then I get to move all of the stuff that's in the kitchen into the pantry so that we can do the countertops basically, because all of that stuff oozes out onto it makes a huge mess. So we're going to try to get the countertops done before 4th of July. Countertops?
Pantry. You're not going to attempt the countertops before the 4th of July, are you?
That's why we're taking all the stuff out of the...
I wish you the best. I wish you absolutely the best. Mo says, I feel you on the mower. My riding one broke twice. My tractor for brush hogging broke 4 times. The field is about half mowed now. Fun times. Yeah, that's just the life, though. Just the absolute life, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Allison Ashley, how are you? Yep, long time no talk. Good to see you.
And it's great when you can fix your own equipment because then you're not waiting for somebody else to have the time to do that. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's like a new belt on the mower. If I had to wait for the mechanic to put a belt on the mower, I would not be mowing yet, probably.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that We know how to fix a few. We know how to fix a few of our things.
There ain't no we.
There's a we. I do some stuff.
You order it done.
Some stuff I do my own.
Mhm.
I air up my own tire.
Congratulations.
It was off.
I'm so proud of you.
It was off.
You aired up a tire?
It was
No.
off. There was no seal. It was just hanging there.
Way to get out of your comfort zone.
How many of you know how to do that?
How to air up a tire.
Some people don't know.
Woo!
Come on now. Some people don't know how to do that if it's not seated on there.
Uh-huh.
Don't give me no crap.
Yeah, Jen says we are so blessed considering all things. Yeah, it's. Go ahead. Don't give me that look. Airing up a tire.
It was not just airing up a tire.
That's like me asking you for brownie points because I know how to close a door. Just for the record, I don't need an attaboy for closing a door. Just so you know, I don't. Or putting one foot in front of the other.
Or turning the hot water on instead of the cold.
I don't need a congratulations when I get that right. No, I don't.
No, but you hardly get it right.
No, come on now. Hush you. Hush, 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 hush. Hey, Gratitude to Grace, welcome in.
Something else that we finally are letting the cows roam free. We used to just have them in paddock 1, and then we opened up paddock 2, and so that they could go into paddock 2 whenever they wanted to, but yet come back to paddock 1 for water. But now we have opened, because we have the whole property fenced, we went ahead and opened up the paddock fences and allowed them to basically roam the whole property. And they do like this big circle, like every day there you see them going in this circle. What?
Silver Lining said that you stood there and watched her while she put her tire back on her rim. Is that true?
She said, I've seen her put a tire back on the rim. I was impressed and learned something new. Of course, you didn't put that up there. See? I taught her how to do it. Not everybody knows how to do that, right? I should do a video.
You should do a video. Yeah, you should. Speaking of video, Packrat wants you to know that if you need to turn the camera off for a second, that you will understand. That's very important. Lazy Loper, good to see you. Squatchy, welcome back.
Yep. Get you in line.
Someone needs to get me in line.
That's true. First time ever.
Back to the cows real quick. They're really enjoying the field. Bee opened up all 40 acres to them, and so they don't even come home, you know.
No, but I see them over underneath the solar panels, rubbing their head up against the poles. Then I have to hurry up there and shoo them away because I don't want them. There's certain things that I really don't want them messing with. I mean, if I take the 4-wheeler into paddock 1, Freeman chews on the handlebars. So, and he ate a piece of the seat. He chewed a piece of the cushion off, and I looked over at him, and he was like,
now I know why you want a medal for airing up a tire. This whole thing makes a lot more sense to me now.
Because the cow chews on the handlebars.
Because
it must be my fault.
Just the crowd you run in.
They're special. I have to keep them from chewing on the handlebars.
Or eating the seat.
He did eat a piece of the cushion. He did.
He's a good boy, though. He's a good guy.
And I couldn't get it from him. There was no way I was sticking my hands in his mouth, and it was gone before I could even stop him. So, first time ever, I had to hatch some birds. So I had on my calendar the date that they were supposed to hatch, or the day that lockdown was. And so lockdown was 3 days before hatch date, and hatch date could be, I don't know, 3 to 5 days. And so I had some eggs that were not hatching, and they were in the incubator for the whole time. And then I took them out and put them inside of a different incubator that didn't have a roller in it. So it was just basically a brooder, basically, but it was high humidity for them to hatch. So I put those eggs in there. And every day I would go in there and, well, before I did, I candled them to make sure that they were all something in them. And then I would go in there daily and rotate them and make sure that there was like no pips and kind of keep an eye on them and make sure that they weren't wet, because this particular incubator has no ventilations, and I wanted to make ventilation holes, and I wanted to make sure that they were not like accumulating moisture. So anyway, I would go in there and I'd look at them, and on day like 7, they still hadn't pipped and they hadn't hatched. And so I had to actually take a butter knife, the end of it, and like break the egg. And when I pulled the shell away, the inside membrane was all like shrunken down and sunk in to the bird. And I thought the bird was dead. And so when I went to peel that membrane off, it I don't know, it like took a breath, I guess. And so I was like, oh no, I got to get this bird out of here. And so I started peeling the shell away, and then the membrane was still stuck to it. So I had to peel that around the bird and get it off. And when I did, the bird like threw its legs out, was like, oh. And so I was like, oh no. And there was like no, it was like dry. The bird, there was no blood, there was no moisture. It was like the bird was basically dry. And so I was like, oh no, I got to get these birds out of these shells. And so I started doing that, breaking them all open and opening them up and allowing the bird to, I didn't peel the bird out of the shell because I don't want to.
Camera says put them under warm water.
Put the shell under warm water? Can you do that? Put the shell under warm water? I thought you weren't supposed to get them wet.
Canberra wants to know what brand of solar mini split do you have, and do you think bifacial solar panels are better than regular solar panels? So the first thing is we have Mitsubishi mini splits. They're not solar mini splits, they're regular mini splits that we run off our solar system, just to clarify. And yes, I think bifacial panels are better than regular panels.
Mm-hmm. Oh, show.
Yeah. David wants to know do you usually do these things by yourself? Are you talking about like airing up a tire? Yes. I don't think she really needs much help to do that. David, do you? Do you? I mean, how would you answer it?
If you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to do it.
Wyatt from Polyface Farms is here. Hey, good to see you, Wyatt. How are you? I hope everything is going great for you. And David says, I know, by the way, welcome in. David says, I know lots of community members like to help when they can. 100%. But we all have homesteads we're trying to run. And the things like, airing up a tire, we just don't need supervision for. And, right? You agree with that, right?
Some people need help doing that. And some people need help getting their tires to the mechanic, and some people need help with all kinds of things.
Karen says bored cattle. A guy in New York puts fallen branches in with his cattle. They rub against them for months. It's how they scratch and itch. Yeah, I've got piles of brush all over that they can get into, and trees that we've cleared up 10 feet tall. They can rub on the tree. I even have a pole concreted in the ground with a bunch of push broom heads screwed to it so they can walk up and itch themselves on it.
And they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Tamber says then blow dry them. Interesting. Anyway. Oh, wait.
So anyway, I got how many? I got 6 turkeys and 2 guineas to hatch. 5 turkeys lasted through the night and 2 guineas. 3 of the turkeys and 1 of the guineas spent several days in ICU. Basically.
Still in ICU?
No, last night I put them, 1 turkey didn't make it out of ICU, and then the others were able to stand on their own and made it into the general population. So they're dry, standing, eating and drinking with their clutch mates.
Lazy Loper said, I cut PVC pipe today for the first time.
I bet you think that that's like a no-brainer.
Well, it's cutting something. I mean, it's no different than cutting a bale of twine. It's no different than cutting a piece of wood. It's no different than cutting a tree, right? Snipping a tree off at the base that you don't want, pruning a fruit tree. It's just cutting something, right?
I say congratulations.
I say congratulations too, because it was a first. You airing up the tire is not your first time airing up a tire. Don't even know.
No, but I had to learn how to do it.
Yeah. Hey, Harry Kent Hempworth, how are you? How's Paula? You guys are right on time. What else you got?
Let's see. Oh, I meant to bring my harvest bucket up. I harvested. Did you get any harvest pictures?
I don't think I put any in the live. I already had it loaded by the time they came up.
So I was able to
Probably get
harvest
it on my phone though.
plums and blueberries and black currants and sage and dill and 1 strawberry.
I don't know if you guys can see this or not. No.
It looks like a fruit salad.
Yes, it looked like a fruit salad.
With some dill.
Yeah, I think Loper did awesome too. I'm just torturing Dee because it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyatt says it's going great. We butchered a little over 500 birds today, a mix of roosters and broilers. I was put on the kill station, which was really cool. We're hoping to cut more hay next week. Good for you. I can't wait for you to come back and fill us all in. You know?
It's a lot of birds.
Yeah.
How many people were in that crew butchering 500 birds in a day?
Yeah. Yeah, Jen says wonderful garden blessings. Well, I got lots of garden pictures tonight.
Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. Thank you to everybody who reached out and called or stopped by or sent cards or food for both of us, for us, for when my mom passed. I wanted to say thank you for all of the warm wishes and keeping us in your thoughts and prayers. We feel loved.
Yeah, 100%. We had lots and lots and lots of support. And how are you doing, by the way? You sure people are wondering?
Doing okay. Yeah, it sucks, but
yep. But life goes on.
Yes,
right?
And I'm grateful to have you in my life. I'm grateful for our children and our friends. I'm grateful for the people that we surround ourselves with. Grateful for all of you for being here. Thank you.
Yep. Life goes on, right?
Yes.
It does. Well, we got anything else on there? Or you want to get on the rest of the homesteading stuff I took pictures of?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Well, you guys know I'm always very proud of the horseradish, and so I'm going to start with it. Because man, it just gets so big and beautiful, you know. So it's really, really cool, you know. But so
Well, there's half of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to get up close to the leaves. I wanted to get up close to the leaves because it's so beautiful, right? Absolutely beautiful. So why don't you tell us what all the rest of the stuff is? Look at that.
Those are the plums that I got to harvest.
Yeah, and this is a big deal for us here at the farm. So that tree is 3 years old, and it is the first fruit tree to produce a harvest for us. And we've had other fruit trees produced, but like the pear tree last year had 2 on it and they just fell off, right? It just wasn't far enough along. But I got to sit in the food forest today and eat plum.
Yep, I ate 2.
Yeah. You ate blueberries, you ate all kinds of stuff up there.
Yeah, I did.
So we've
the
had
blueberries were amazing. Well, the plum was too, but I wish I had eaten them together, actually.
Yeah.
But we have a whole bucket of food that I can mix together, make a big old salad.
Yeah, and I think it's just great. You know, we've gotten lots of produce out of the food forest, but it's rhubarb and it's elderberries and it's, you know.
Oh my gosh, we had so many elderberries.
Currants or whatever, but this is the first fruit off a tree that we've gotten out of the food forest after 3 years.
And we got an ice cream bucket full.
Yeah.
We got a lot.
Then this was this tree's first year. So even like last year, I don't remember even a single one on it.
No, it was still in shock.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's doing well, and I'm very excited about that. And so it was a big task. I grabbed a hold of one, took a bite, got B. I stood there and ate one, and it was pretty cool. Yeah. Bird's Eye View says, "What do you do with all the horseradish?"
I just let it grow.
You harvest it.
I've made a horseradish sauce.
And you've given some of it away.
Yeah.
You know, someone who wants some of it. It grows awesome. Bird's Eye View, and it's hardy, and it just does really well. You know?
I used to make like fire cider with it, but I don't drink that anymore.
Yeah, Pete says, Squatch says it's awesome walking through the fruit forest and stopping to eat. Yeah, it was a really cool gig for us. Yeah, Silverline says, what an awesome feeling eating fresh food as you stand beside the tree. Yeah. And you know, because we don't spray anything with anything, there's nothing wrong with reaching up and grabbing something and just eating it.
Right.
You know, and which is, I think, you know, super cool. What I learned when my parents dies is that the pain of the loss is in direct proportion to the love they gave you. So if you're feeling great loss, it means you experienced a great love. That's good advice. Skanes Girl says horseradish mayo is so good. I also use it for fire cider. Yeah, B likes your horseradish. What do you eat it with the most? Steak?
Yeah.
Yeah, steak
or roast beef or
yeah, which is
shrimp.
pretty cool. Yeah, but Bird's Eye View, if we need some horseradish, let us know. Yeah. Indiana says Homestead Challenge idea, horseradish sauce shot contest. I'm out.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm out. That stuff is powerful. Okay. What do you got? Look at your comfrey.
Yep, that's comfrey.
That's a whole row of comfrey.
And those plants are massive. They're like 3 feet wide.
Yeah. Yeah, and that whole swell is comfrey all the way to the end. And if you look real close, you can see fruit trees and stuff sticking out of them.
Yeah.
You know, but this is basically a row of comfrey with a few fruit trees in it. They
just took over the area, so I need to break it down probably this
year,
this fall.
It all started in a garden, and he went to the garden. It truly is a beautiful place to be and feel that gratitude. 100%. Yep. Squatchy says, love the full horsepower of horseradish. Horseradish is good in tuna also. We put horseradish in macaroni salad. Karen says, can't wait for my orchard to start producing. Started planting last month, so it'll be a while, but my first apricot tree grew taller than the poultry netting rabbit barrier. Good. Chop and drop the comfrey to feed the soil. It will grow back. Yeah. Well, we also want to take a lot of it and spread it too. We can get it in a lot of places.
But what she's saying is just go ahead and chop the stuff that's on the top. And it'll just keep.
Yeah.
So that it's not just a big massive.
Lazy Loper said, I killed Squatchy's horseradish. Speaking of you two, I've got a package sitting here at my house I need to send, and for the life of me, I can't find the address. So please email me and let me know. Please and thank you, now that I remembered. All right, what do we got? What's that?
Marigolds.
I thought you said those were like a cherry bush or something. Or are you talking about something else?
No, what was next to it? So that's marigolds right there.
Okay.
And that right there is a mint.
Okay.
You might have cut off what?
Might have. How about those?
Those are the blue. That's a blueberry.
Yeah. It's little, but we have 2 of these in the food forest. That's the other one. Right. So we're getting some, which is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
You think it's pretty cool?
I think it's beautiful. Finally. And strawberry. So there was 2 strawberries. One was red. And
is that a wild strawberry or is that one you planted?
No, I planted that. Those are from
because you have both in the food forest, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You have wild ones. And
these ones are the ones that you bought me, though, from Stark Brother, I think.
Oh, okay. They seem to be growing good.
They do like that place. The grass is coming up around there.
Yeah, Jen says also make some comfrey swamp water to feed the other plants. That's a good idea. So when you make the swamp water, you just take it green and just, seep it in there, or do you dry it out, or how's that work?
Just stick it in the water and let it mold in there.
Let it get nasty. Yeah, that's
like
pretty
tea.
Cool. I didn't hear what you said, Tag, as my roosters were crowing. What was I saying?
The Lazy Loper needed to send you her address.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yep, cock-a-doodle-doo. David the Good has a version of swamp water. Okay. Yeah, and Packrat says online recipes for comfrey tea will get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you got plenty of it. Look at that. What do you guys think of that?
I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all that. I need help. I may have a problem. I may have overdone it.
What would you say you overdid in here? I can't pick it out.
I overdid the green. I need some reds and some yellows. Maybe a splash of pink.
Is anybody feeling sick? Question 1. And then question 2, I need to know for Silver Lining when she's coming down with her fork. Right?
I'll have them frozen for you.
Oh my goodness, that's a horrible job cleaning all the berries off them.
Yes, I had so many. There was everybody was helping at one point in time.
Yeah, man. Look at all that beautiful elderberry. And there's other things in there. There's a pear tree and a peach tree, and we have some other berries in there too.
Oh yeah, there's goji berries in between those.
And gooseberries, right at the end.
I'm sorry, it was gooseberry, not goji berry.
Okay. You have goji berries too.
Yeah, but that's in the
not
next to it.
Yeah, but isn't that absolutely beautiful? That's Bee's Barn in the background, and then to the right of that, the green building is the turkey coop, and then the brown building beside it's chicken coop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. Jen says, I'm coming, Bee. I'll take some of those elderberry and freeze dry them for winter potions. Love that. Well, as you can tell, there will be plenty.
I'll have a couple.
What's crazy is it's not all even bloomed yet.
I know.
I mean, it's going to,
I know.
And you know what's crazy is for the first few years, I think this got kept down by the deer. Mm-hmm. And now that we fenced it all, it'll be interesting to see how it, explodes.
It's come back with a vengeance.
Yeah. Silver Lining said that she volunteers to dry those berries and vacuum seal them in jars. And then she will make syrup. It's a good deal, right?
Vacuum seal them in jars.
Hey, Nitos, how are you? Welcome in. Yep, super pretty though, I think. I thought I'd share these pictures with you guys. These are me and Bee planted 9 new apple trees this year in the food forest, and all 9 of them look like they're going to make it, and all 9 of them look like this.
Still pretty good.
Yep, we also planted 3 cherry trees. Is that right? Or 6 cherry trees? How many cherry trees did we plant?
Oh well, there was there were 2 different times that we planted them, the cherry trees.
I think we planted 6.
I think so, yeah.
Probably 6. We have 6 cherry trees that are all doing really well too. And so this is great because 3 years from now, we're going to be on this live on Friday the 13th, 2028. And we're going to be talking about the first apples that we got off these trees.
Right.
Yeah.
You think it'll be 3 years? You think it'll take 3 years to get apples on there?
Yep. Pete wants to know what apples. Did I take pictures of cherry trees instead? No, those are apples. Yeah, those are apples.
Those are apples.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jen says you can also cut some of the elder flower for tea and such. It's wonderful.
Oh.
Yeah, well, Jen, you're famous for making all kinds of weird teas. So maybe for the 5th of July Freedom Fest,
tea.
make some elderberry tea or something like that. Something off the farm.
Instead of.
Yeah. Oh, what apple variety? So this year I bought 3 Liberty, 3 Freedoms. Right. I mean, I am, from Lifetime Free, but that's not why. I bought them because they're they're cedar apple rust resistant. I bought
Wolf something.
Yep. 3 Wolf Rivers. Right.
And then
one other.
In Arkansas, I think.
Arkansas Blacks. Yeah. Yeah. So, so I'm pretty excited about it. We already had a bunch of apple trees in the food forest, but you know what's better than 3 apple trees? 6 apple trees.
Yeah.
Right. So it'll take a little bit, but someday this little spot, will be an amazing source and resource for not just my homestead, but for the community as well, which is pretty cool. Right.
Right. Because hopefully we'll have too many to eat ourselves.
What's that, baby?
Then it looks like the currant.
That's your currant. That's right. You harvested currant today too, didn't you?
I did. black currants.
Yeah.
I didn't even get them all. I cannot believe. So on one stem, they go all the way down the stem.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course there's 40 stems.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get even half of what was on one bush.
Yep. Abundance is wonderful, says Pete, and which I agree 100%. Right? Isn't it great how green everything is? Look at that, baby.
Yeah, that is beautiful. When I saw this, I was beyond tickled. This was I for years have been like, I just can't grow dill. And we had just talked about this, and I had just said, I can't grow it. And then we went up there and I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And he goes, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? And took a piece and I said, smell this. And he goes, is that dill? And I'm like, yes.
Yep, dill. And that's a nice dill patch.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah. That'll be good. And when the cucumbers, right, are ready to pickle.
Oh, I should have already.
Oh, you can't use this for that?
I could probably use some of the seed. I've seen that.
Hey, Permatopia Farms in the house, Mandy.
Good
to see you. Probably be on.
Well, dill seed.
Let it
Maybe
seed.
dill seed. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine if that all feeds right there? That is going to be so awesome.
Yeah. You'll have a dill forest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Karen says, my Wolf River is 8 years old and doesn't produce worth a darn. I'm going to cut it down after the harvest. Oh, that's too bad. Yep. That's
what can you do to make it better? Can you throw some fish in there or something?
Yep. I don't know. That's a good question though. But beautiful dill patch, babe. Good job.
Why, thank you.
What are those?
That is my pink yarrow.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Do you guys grow yarrow?
There is pink there. Did you get a picture of the other one?
Yeah, that's the next picture. I gotcha. You just focus on airing up the tire. I'll get the rest of it.
I will air up the tire any day.
Yeah, Permatopia Farms, I didn't catch what you said. Did you plant that massive dill? Yeah, that's just what the dill patch looks like now, you know. And bee planted all of that stuff, but it's
yeah, that was planted by seed.
Yeah, the food for us is just exploding. So that's her, and this is her yarrow.
And that's the thing, like you sit and you plant it, and then you're like,
what we got there?
It's just a tiny plant, and then like in 3 years, you're just like, I got a good patch.
Yeah.
That's my yellow yarrow.
Yeah. And that's not yarrow right there.
That is catmint.
Yeah. Catmint and yarrow, right? Is there anything else in there that's yours that isn't weeds?
Nope.
What are those plants over there? Is that yarrow?
That's the yarrow. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the other. Yip, yip.
It says your food forest looks awesome. Yeah, it is. This year it has exploded. I can't wait to see what it looks like at the end of July because there's still a lot of stuff coming in, you know?
Yeah. And I went in with the weed eater and just started chopping stuff. And I'm like, oh, dang, I just chopped my sage. And then I was like, oh, man, I just chopped my zucchini down. And then I chopped a squash. And then I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I'm too tired to pay attention. Then you just turn it in. And I did. I stopped.
Maybe you didn't expel so much energy airing up a tire. So much brain thought you could focus on those other things.
No, I was just beyond spent.
Oh my goodness. Karen says, my Connell Red is a huge producer. My Fireside does well, but the Wolf River is a loser. And it might be a bad tree for some reason too, right? I've seen Wolf Rivers that are excellent. Yeah. Jen says bee balm is blooming and is so vibrant and beautiful. Yeah.
That's something I don't have yet.
We got there.
That is.
You
told me the C. I know.
You told me when I took the picture.
I know.
All right, let's see if. Yeah, Silver Lining says wicked with the weed eater. Oh yeah.
Not comfrey.
No, it's not comfrey. Nope, it's not.
Oh my gosh.
You planted it.
I know. It goes there every single year. I sell the seeds. I know what it is. I can't think of the name.
How about a Cosmo?
It is a Cosmo. Dang.
G. Johns for the win.
Ah, broken brain. My brain is broken.
Skins Girl says the bee balm survived them grading the road here and has spread to the pasture, which is wonderful. Look at all those cosmos in there. See, they got you hooked up, right? Oh, I thought I was done. I'm not done with that.
Yep.
All right, ready for more trivia?
Cosmos.
What's that? Oh, that's your catnip. Or your
Catmint.
Catmint. That's I had a little bit of that in there earlier. Look at that big catmint plants. That's a lot.
Yeah, it'll turn purple. That's something else too. I can put in the chicken or in the turkey coop because that also smells. It's aromatic.
Yeah, I think that would be it. Nope. Let's see here. Oh no, I got all kinds of pictures still left. Oh my goodness. All right. Oops. Let's do that one. Maybe if it will let me. I am confused between catmint and catnip.
Mint is what I had.
What's the difference?
I got it from somebody. I don't know.
Someone will be able to answer the question.
Somebody will answer it. It is not the one that makes the cats go crazy.
Yeah, that's catnip.
That's catnip.
Yeah. Louise says we have 20 apples on our Wolf River tree that we hauled from Tennessee. Oh, how awesome is that?
Brought it from Tennessee and it has 20 apples on it.
Yeah, how awesome is that it made it and that you're getting a harvest that quick, right?
Yeah.
Because like our trees, we're 3 years in and I haven't gotten an apple yet in any of them. Now there's some getting close. They're getting pretty good size now. So I would imagine we'll start getting them. Oh, look at that. Squatch says we're finally getting kiwi. We can't grow that here. That's super, super cool. Okay, so talk about your tomatoes. They're doing good.
Yep, tomatoes do good. I had to tape them back up with my little tape gun because they get heavy and start laying down. They're what, 3 feet tall?
Yeah, probably.
Some of them.
Yeah, and they're starting to get tomatoes on them a little bit, so it won't be long.
Yeah, there's the very first plant has like
a couple
3 cherry tomatoes on it already.
Okay, here you go. Thank you, Packrat. Packrat says catnip and catmint are both members of the mint family, says the web.
The web.
Yeah, one is a Nepeta. I'm not even going to try it. Anyway, we got some clarification. What are you growing there?
That's my babies. I've been working with them.
Yep.
I think I have my lead on the wrong side.
Yeah. But you were working to, and Louise would be very, very proud of you.
Yes.
Right, that you are working with them.
In there. I put the harness on them. I tied the harness to the wall there, and he just stood there and let me pet him. And I scratched him and scratched him and pet him and scratched him. And at first he was super spooky, but then by the time I was done scratching on him, he thought, hey, this isn't too bad. And so now he doesn't fight me when I lock him in there. He's kind of like, is it time for the pet? I like this. And I take this opportunity to spray their feet with coconut oil so that whatever flies are bothering them will.
Yeah, the problem is the other cows like to lick the coconut oil off.
Yeah, that's okay, though. At least I get what's on them then. It's just like the potato plants. I wasn't getting everything all the time, but I was minimizing the load every time I could.
Yeah.
And so and with these guys, so I get the coconut oil. I sit it outside of the barn. It gets hot enough to liquefy. I pour it into a spray bottle that sprays oil because not all of them do. And I spray it all over their feet. And the spray bottle allows me to spray far enough to where they're not kicking at me when I'm, rubbing on their feet because the flies are on their feet. And so when I spray them, the flies can't fly because they're now engulfed in coconut oil. So they get down onto the ground. And then as the cows are done eating, they leave their stall and I go over there and step on all the flies, sweep up all the debris and put it into the compost pile. So
you're becoming quite the cowwoman.
I love them.
Cameron says my sweet 100s are 8 feet tall and I made some salsa out of the little maters.
8 feet tall already. My goodness, mine are not that
cool. Oh, got it. Okay, Permatopia, what she's saying is I have a problem. identifying between the two of them if you set them side by side. Catnip and Catmint. Got it. Yeah. Hey, Rhonda, how are you? Welcome in. Yeah. Silver Lining says, here in Arkansas, you will have to spray the peaches and the plums. Kaolin clay.
Kaolin clay.
Works. Will do.
The peaches and the plums.
Would chickens eat flies? Oh, they'll absolutely eat them if they can get them. A chicken? I think we're getting at is, why don't the chickens just keep the flies away?
Okay.
Well,
Kaolin.
Yeah.
Kaolin.
Yeah. They would for sure. What else? Oh, so you guys remember I told you I went to an auction? So I bought these two mineral feeders, and I got a really good deal on them. There was two others that were just like it on the other side of the auction, by the bigger stuff, and they went for $350 a piece. They're the exact same ones. The difference is these two have cosmetic blemishes in them. I don't care. They're concrete, but the other ones went for $350 a piece, and if I remember right, I think I gave $70 a piece for these, something like that, right? In order so B can have a waterproof mineral feeder if she needs it out there with her cows.
Yeah, I was trying to put some salt out there, and they would go out there and flip the bowl that I had it in and make a mess out of it. Well, I don't want that. So in order to get them minerals, I wanted to have a way to do that without them being able to push it around.
Yeah.
And waste my product.
Yeah, we went out to the auction. B pointed these out to me. Actually, the other set. I hadn't seen this set, but anyway, that was pretty cool.
They looked exactly the same.
Yeah, and they'll work great. And then I bought a old brush hog for $100, which is what you see on your right.
I thought it was 70.
Was it 70?
I thought
it was 100. I gave you the receipt.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was 70. I thought all of those were 70.
And then I gave $30 for the wood burning stove. And the thing about the wood burning stove is I really didn't need it, but for $30, I'll heat a barn with it. I'll heat another one at a shop with it.
And it was a big stove.
Yeah, it's a big one. So.
And it would be perfect for a shop or a barn or.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah, Packrat says catnip tends to be more sprawling, weedy look with gray, green, or white flowers, while catmint is more compact and often features purple or lavender flowers. Cool. Squatchy says that brush hog will work perfect. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. We need to get it hooked up to.
I want to see if you can lift it up for me, and so I can look underneath it and make sure that there's nothing wrapped around there, or that they move freely, or.
Yeah, I can pick it up easy. I'm big and strong like that, and I own a skid loader.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So I think that stuff should all help, right? Oh, I wanted to show you guys. I didn't even show you this. I took this picture heading to Topeka.
What's this say?
It has a pic. Sorry, guys, I was driving down the road. I snapped this picture driving. It's a picture of Trump flipping people off with both hands.
Okay.
And it says, "Hawk Tua spit on that thing," on the back of somebody's truck. Oh my goodness.
They have a red license plate, so they're not from here.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, I just thought it was interesting, so I thought I would share it with you guys. I would never put that on the back of my truck, but anyway, I thought it was funny. I have been, if you guys remember this project from last year, I worked on it a little bit.
I remember it.
Yeah, and then I retired it because I had other things to do.
Yeah.
And so I was cleaning out my shop and I was going through all of that. So I pulled this back out of the closet and thought I'd spend a little time trying to get it a little further. This is Bethany's solar dehydrator that's going to go down at the community building. And what I was doing on it last year was putting all of the little pieces of metal in so you could put the racks in. I've got doors to build. I wanted to put solar fans on it so that she could control the temperature better. I wanted to put thermostats in it. So I just thought I'd share with you guys a couple pictures. And I'll put out a whole video on how I built it when I get it all finished. But
I cannot wait.
I'll show you. So basically, I just ran the wires, right? Put the vents up, ran the wires to a couple switches so that she can just turn.
Are those solar panels?
Yes.
And then those solar panels turn on the fan?
Yes, if the switch is on. If the switch is not on, then the fans won't turn on. I know, I'll show you. It just runs to a couple switches, right?
Okay.
And then, but what I wanted to show you guys is I built this out of a locker, a big file cabinet looking thing, right? And I'm going to paint it and all of that stuff. But we're going to get this out on a rack. I'm going to put the angle on the front, for the actual solar dehydrating, and she's going to have a monster solar dehydrator. I'm going to put it up right next to where the big smoker is down at the community building.
Perfect.
And I think that ought to be pretty cool. What do you think?
That is badass.
Yep. And then got sawmill running again. There's a lot of people who helped get the thing up and running, but it's cutting again. And so for as long as it lasts, we'll go back to doing a little bit of milling and keep stacking that wood up in the shop. Although I don't really have more space to give it, I will make the space because you can't have enough building material. How I see it. Palmento Paratrooper, how are you? Welcome in. No, I think. Oh, nope. One last thing. Hey, Hugh the Righteous, how are you? Says I made catnip tincture, which you can spray on yourself to prevent. Oh, just put it up there.
Ooh.
I made catnip tincture, which you can spray on yourself to prevent mosquito bites. It also seemed to keep the biting black flies away from me.
Oh, nice.
So, Hugh the Righteous, can you give us a little more detail? How did you make the tincture? Or just point us in the right direction? Yeah, and Silver Lining says, come on. I don't know why it does that sometimes. So weird.
Don't you have to unclick one?
No. It's not letting me click on it. I don't have any idea. Anyway, we don't appear to be frozen. All right. What is going on? I do not know why. For some reason, it won't let me take it off the screen. That's so weird.
Maybe change you're invited.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing's working.
No, that's weird. There we go. I almost got this fixed, guys. I promise I do. Oh, no way. Okay. So what it did is it kicked me out. So I got to get my slides back up here real quick. Oops. Remove that one. Gotta love technology. Remove that one. And the food one, everybody. All right. And let me get to where we were. Gotta love technology. Almost there. I think.
It's going 6 7 6 7 6 7 6 7 8 4 5 4 5 6 7 4 5 6 7.
It is just not my night. Anyway, Silver Lining.
I don't know if we're even on.
Yeah, we are. It's counting down. Oh my goodness, what is going on?
What did you push?
Backrat says simplest changing a tire.
Yep.
For the win. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Silver Lining says, now let's see if I can actually get through these pictures that I already shared with you guys. Look how beautiful all that stuff is. Okay, here, see if B's paying attention. Tell me where to stop, B. Where was I?
Right there.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Anyway, don't forget July the 5th, we have our Freedom Fest. Jim Gale from Food Forest Abundance will be down. Everybody's welcome. We're going to do fireworks. We're going to do the Homestead Olympics, which I'm really looking forward to. I don't know all the details, but people wanted to do a barbecue sauce contest and a pie walk. I thought a pie walk was when you walk around with a pie, but I have been informed that that is not the case.
It's a game.
It's a game, apparently.
Why would you walk around with a pie? That's weird.
I love you guys so much. This is so great. Backrat says, simple as changing a tire, and Skates Girl jumps in with even a caveman can do it. Yeah, it is Friday the 13th, G. John said. Yes, it is. 100%. So anyway, I'd love to see as many of you as we can. I'd love to just get out there and just enjoy freedom and, eat good and just hang out, right? Do freedom stuff, right? So that ought to be pretty cool, I
Yep.
would think.
How are we going to know how many foods to make? We're just going to
Just plan on 110 people.
come on now.
I promise you my answer will work.
Without having 100 hamburgers left over.
You will not have 100 hamburgers left over. I can assure you that. Chop up the leaves, put in a glass. Oh, I guess I can just add it to the screen, can't I? Chop up the leaves, put in a glass bottle cover with 100 proof vodka and leave for a couple of weeks, then strain and put into a spray. Got
Just like that.
Just like the other ones. Yep. 110 foods.
We need 110 foods, please.
110 different foods. That's not what she meant. I interpreted her. What she was talking about is how many burgers does she need to cook? Right?
How many foods? How are we going to know how many foods? 110.
110. That's the answer. Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited about you. Excited about doing the freedom stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hugh, the righteous says use dark colored glass bottle.
Hmm.
Probably to keep the UV out. That'd be my guess. Keep the light out of it.
Probably. Or so you can't see what you're spraying on yourself. It's all chunky.
That'd be good.
Don't look.
Don't look at it. Right. Well, it's got to be better.
I one time made a spray for, I don't know, I think it's for my mom, and it had aloe in it, like straight from the plant. And I scraped it, put it in there, and shook it up. And she goes, "It's chunky." I was like, "Don't look at it." Yeah, it's kind of boogery. That's the aloe.
Wow. All right, you good? What else? Anything else you want to talk about before we do good news? Because I try to time it right half and half to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let's talk about some good news, huh? All right, which one do we want to do first? Let's do this one first. I'm sure
That does not look like good news.
yeah, I'm sure most of you guys have been following all of the protests, which started in Los Angeles, but since then spread to many, many places. I think it's absolutely ironic that people who left a country to come for a better life wave the flag of that other country while they protest and destroy property. I mean, right? I mean, I think it's absolutely silly. The other thing that I think is crazy is that these people are really giving, in this particular case, the Hispanic population a bad name. I know a good handful of Hispanics, and they are genuine, hardworking, honest, family-loving people, or at least the ones I have been around. And so I think this is kind of sad from that perspective. Just a little bit. Hey, MJ from Wisconsin, welcome in. But it did not take very long, and these began to spread, kind of all over the place. As you can see, cop cars on fire. The guy in the middle picture threw a rock through the windshield of somebody's car, a police officer's car, and they arrested him, kind of rather quickly. You see LA Mayor Karen Bass slams the Trumps for deploying troops because, Trump, this is going to become a gigantic ordeal. Trump ordered troops under Trump's command to LA, 4,000 National Guard, and some 700 Marines. And a judge ordered today that he did not have the constitutional authority to do that, and ordered the National Guard to begin listening to the governor of California and not to Trump.
Really?
Yes, today. And Trump has not reacted to, or at least I have not seen a reaction from it yet. But he said, as I understand it, there's ways that he can do it by, implementing the Insurrection Act. You could even go all the way up to martial law, but he can get control of it back. But he's going to have to do something from it. Let's see here. Squatchy says that Los Angeles is an hours from us and just crazy, but looked so staged. Yeah, I think it's staged too. And I've got a whole bunch of information on that too as we go through this tonight, of just stuff that I've seen that I think I kind of have to agree with you. And, Conserve Friends, welcome in, says instigated by Antichrist, Antifa and stuff. Yeah, and I've got some posts and stuff on that too in here. But I think the buttons are being pushed and things are being funded. And you guys remember a lot of lives ago when Trump got elected, I said that this is going to be very, very hard for Trump because he's fighting the entire world and half the United States. Mm-hmm. Right. And so let's see here. Packrat says in Nashville, we had an arraignment of Abrego Garcia, an MS-13 criminal and hero to the left. Lovely. Skainsgirl says, I think another judge has already overturned that tag. I did not read that. I did not read that. So it spread to New York City. It went on to spread to San Francisco fairly quickly. They seen activity in San Antonio. Let's see here, Seattle police also had to deal with it, as did New York. And this was all in the first 2 days. And now we are on day 6 and it continues to rage, which I think is crazy. As of day 2, they had seen these types of protests in Los Angeles, Santa Ana, Chicago, New York City, Omaha, Peoria, Arizona, San Francisco, Dallas, San Antonio, Atlanta, Denver, and Seattle. And I watched some of this stuff, guys, and I mean, it's crazy that anybody thinks it's okay to destroy property. Now, I do understand that the government hasn't been real friendly to a lot of people, and they've taken advantage of a lot of people. And so, how do you share that? How do you fight back? You can't outgun them. You can't. What do you do? And I could see people's frustrations getting built up. But at the same time, these immigrants who come here, I mean, it's a rough rub, right? Trump got elected on the promise that he was going to deport. And then he goes and does it. And again, here we go, off and go. So protesters have taken over the streets of Chicago. I watched a video of someone throwing a Molotov cocktail at police in Chicago. Crazy, just absolutely crazy. Let's see here. Skins Girl says, I think I heard that on the radio on the way home from work tonight. Yeah, there's so much craziness going on. President Trump called on Tom Homan to arrest Galvin Newsom. So Galvin Newsom has been interfering with ICE's operations. And so Trump kind of dared Tom Homan to go and arrest him. And Newsom went on to say that Trump's border czar is threatening to arrest me for speaking out. Come and get me, tough guy, Newsom said to Homan. Now, I don't know how many of you guys know Newsom and Homan. I don't know Newsom personally, but I know Homan personally, and I wouldn't dare that guy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I mean, that's a tough guy. President Trump was charged with starting the insurrection after telling January 6 protesters to be peaceful and go home. This is the Mayor Bass blaming the government for the violent protests while egging them on. This is what insurrection looks like and sounds like. And, people have been, yeah, that's a super important point right there. Lazy Loper says most protesters here are citizens. Yeah, I would doubt that very many illegals would go protest, right? Yeah, Kent says, and then the mainstream media is calling it mostly peaceful. Nito says Las Vegas too. Only the governor and mayor shut it down when it got out of hand. Yep. Terminator says tag in our major cities here in Canada a month ago they were doing protesting. Yellow Canada is dead, and so is USA, and this was by Palestinians. Yeah, Squadgy says Bass is a known communist. Bernie Sanders went on to say that Trump's authoritarianism in real time, conduct massive illegal raids, provoke counter response, declare state of emergency, and call in the troops. This is unacceptable. Los Angeles Police Department chief admits professional left-wing anarchists are fueling the violence in the Los Angeles riots. This reeks of George Soros. LAPD Chief Jim McConnell just exposed that many already suspected the chaos unfolding in Los Angeles has been escalated by professional leftist agitators. When I look at the people who are out there doing the violence, that's not the people that we see during the day. These are people who are all hooded up. They've got a hoodie on. They've got face masks on. They're people who do this all the time, get away with whatever they can, go out there from one civil unrest situation to another using the same or similar tactics frequently. They're all connected. Some would call them anarchists. They're antichrists. Sorry, typing's real small. They're people that we run across routinely city to city, and this is what they do. Many of the people who are doing this come in from other places just to hurt people and to cause havoc. Rand Paul's reaction to the insurrections in LA attacking ICE officers and waving foreign flags. He said we should cut the immigration and enforcement funding in Trump's big, beautiful bill in half. You can't make this stuff up. It gets worse. CNN reporters claim that these protesters are not just those who were there in the beginning. Antifa has arrived. They know it. We know it. Trump needs to classify Antifa now. Another orchestra, Grant Cardone, which is so crazy to see him. I would not normally quote him. I know exactly who he is. I did a lot of sales training for him. He's a fabulous sales teacher. If anybody ever wants to listen to some good sales stuff, he is a great teacher. But anyway, he said, I think this is also fascinating that you're seeing more and more people move conspiratorial. Like, I've never seen him post much of that kind of stuff before, Anyway, another orchestrated and organized event to encourage the contributing law by taxpayers and business owners to exit California. This is a land grab. Do not be deceived. This is not, nor has it ever been, incompetence. It's intentional. The goals are to get rid of law-abiding citizens by importing illegals and not enforcing the rule of law, drive real estate values down and grab all the property back. Hard to believe. That's how they get away with it. It's communism, not socialism. If they pull it off in Cali, they can and will do it in other parts of America. Mike Bence went on to talk about how Barack Obama's ambassador recently called for people-powered protests in America against Trump. Los Angeles ICE protesters chanting, "What kind of power? People power," were recorded. Listen to what she's saying here. Democrat Los Angeles City Council member Eunices Hernandez essentially is admitting on camera that these ICE riots are organized by Democrats. They know how, they're quoting her, they know how quickly we mobilize. That's why they're changing tactics. Our resistance has slowed them down before. And if they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we got to show up even stronger, she says. And then here's the crazy thing. Breaking, U.S. Marines have detained a U.S. citizen in Los Angeles. This is the first time in known U.S. history that the Marines have been used in this way to detain an American without the Insurrection Act being invoked. The Posse Comitatus Act of 1878 prohibits this, and it does. I 100% agree with this, that Trump does have some power to use the military to work as a police force, but in that he would have to invoke the Insurrection Act, which he did not do, and this is 100% non-constitutional, in my opinion. Cameron Smith says the illegal people shouldn't have any protesting rights like the American citizens do. I agree with that. I doubt we will see any organizer or financier held accountable. Of course, no way. Yep. Lazy Loper says, I 100% agree. And again says, Palisades fire anyone? Yeah. Right? When people in Maui would agree probably too. This is the last ditch chance not to lose power by lunatics, and people are waking up. I think you're seeing more and more people wake up, but we need to be, as freedom-loving people, we need to be just as hard on anybody who violates those rules. And the fact of the matter is those Marines can't do that. And I'm very disappointed that this happened. This is something that a police force does. This is something that even a National Guard does in some cases. But if he wants to do this, then invoke the Insurrections Act, and here we go. But don't break the rules. You can't. How can you claim the moral high ground when you break the rules too?
Yeah.
Right?
True. If
one of the idiots is throwing cement water bottles at the Marines, can they detain that person? Yeah, it's the way that I read it, Jen, the answer is no. They're not there to be a police force. And him just deploying those Marines there, forget about the event itself, is super questionable based upon the Constitution. And again, you can, look it up in, the Posse Comitatus Act, and also look it up in the Insurrection Act. But I don't think this can happen. And it's a shame. And I don't even know why you would even toe the line. Like, if it was me and I was president, I would step way back from the line to make sure it was clear. Right. And not even, muddy the water. The Dems and the liberal left are going to have a heyday with this. Right. You're going to start seeing chants of they're coming for your guns and all this stuff. Right. In an effort to derail Trump. As many have said, see what happens to a U.S. citizen if they go to another country and block streets and burn cars. Yeah, but in our country, we celebrate them. Right. Also, I'm sure you guys noticed that in Los Angeles and many other places that there were, once again, truckloads of bricks and cinder blocks and things like that left out for the people. So I think it's, probably not just a bunch of protesters carrying a pallet of cinder blocks on their back into protest. Many of the people who picked up these rocks and threw them through windshields and destroyed cars have now been arrested. And one of the things I found interesting is Like, you know, the guy that was on my very, very first slide that was standing up on the
car,
right?
yeah,
The flag.
the flag.
Okay, so you know how they I'm sorry, not him, the guy that threw the rock through the police car when they were driving by.
Okay.
You know how they found him? With his cell phone in his pocket. His cell phone's what busted him. Because he had a mask on, had all of that stuff on. So if you're gonna go protest, leave your phone at home.
So how did they know that it was that?
So they pinged all of those. They went back and looked at the records, the pinging of all of those cell phone towers, and they figured out who was within certain geographical feet of that spot. And probably just process of elimination. You know, there was 5 people there, 3 of them were women. That's down to 2. You know, one guy was white. This guy wasn't. That's the end of that, right? And
wow.
And he's going to go to prison now. Yeah, I read that the Marines were to protect federal buildings to free up the guard and the police to do the arresting. Yeah, so I believe it to be legal and constitutional for him to use the military to guard a federal facility if he believes the state is incapable of doing it. And if I remember right, that's about exactly how it reads. But I do not think it's the authority to arrest anybody. Free building material, right? Maybe someone's going to build their own house, right? Oh, they did that for the J6ers to track them down. That's right. They're just using your cell phone. So rule number 1 is don't protest with a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
or do.
And well, depending on what your mission is, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna.
Right. The passing out face shield. Several trucks were seen spotted unloading material to the protesters, and it turns out to be these bionic shield face masks. The guy who actually handed them out got on camera and said, "Here, if you want to arrest me. I'm just handing out face shields. You know, there's nothing illegal about that." And the FBI arrested him. What happened to him after that, I did not hear. I'll update you guys if I find out. President Trump just announced the Department of Justice is investigating who is financing the Los Angeles rioters wearing armor and face shields. The best money can buy. Someone's financing it, and we're going to find out through Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice. Who is it? Let's see here. Spirco released a video this week tracing the financier as Soros and our own tax dollars via USAID and several shell organizations that can hide tax dollars displaced Washingtonian Democrats too. Yeah, this reminds me of something. You guys know how Trump, this is off topic. Trump talked about how selling the gold card for $25 million, you can buy your citizenship in the United States. You know, remember all this? We've covered it before on the live, but isn't that interesting how we can funnel all this money through USAID to these places and then take the taxpayers' monies to buy citizenship for the buddies of the politicians? I think it's weak. Anyway, there have been ads that have been spotted on places like Craigslist and Facebook. And this particular one that I clipped said, looking for toughest badasses in the city in Los Angeles. Seeking extremely tough, brave men for new crew I'm building. Compensation $6,500 to $12,500 per week. We are forming a select team of the toughest dudes in the area. This unit will be activated only when the situation demands it, but you get paid every week no matter what. High pressure, high risk, no room for hesitation. We need individuals who do not break, panic, or fold under stress and are basically all around kick-ass dudes. Physical strength, speed, conditioning is important, but mental toughness is everything. If you're not the biggest guy in the room, but you're the one people follow when things go bad, that's who we're looking for. We're recruiting those who are already hard, badass, and ready for the confrontation when necessary. However, we can train you if necessary. What we're looking for, and they go on to talk about it again. But can you believe $6,500 to $12,500 a week? Man, spontaneous protests sure help get a lot of help from unspontaneous distribution of face masks and building materials. Yeah, right. Right. They are using flock cameras to track movements in a lot of these areas. They are starting to pop up around here as well. Lovely.
Flock cameras.
Just what we need. TikToker admits to being paid $150 a day to protest Trump's deportation policies in LA. He also claims protesters were given specific target locations where pallets of bricks and flammable material were conveniently waiting to help them destroy the very communities that they live in. Pretty exciting, right?
Pointless. Yeah.
Exciting.
No.
Yeah. And of course, we cannot have a mostly peaceful protest without looting. Multiple businesses are now being looted in downtown Los Angeles, including the Jordan flagship store, the Apple store, an LA jewelry store was completely cleaned out, and he's going to shut his business down. And Mayor Karen Bass was just told on KCAL that businesses are being looted in downtown Los Angeles, and her reply was, "Oh my God, oh my God." Bass did not know that the LAPD chief had requested mutual aid from neighboring police due to the riots. LA has no leadership, and I think Squatchy would agree with that based on his previous comments. I just got an email from someone called Cuddle Toast. Anyway, let's see. Dana Green says, "Yeah, saw that one on Leak Project." All right, keep it trucking here. I don't know if you guys seen this or not, but Mexico's president is calling for protests in the USA. If necessary, we'll mobilize. We don't want taxes on. So a lot of the Hispanics that come to America work and send their money home. She doesn't want a tariff on that, and so it seemed to me like she was encouraging that the bill going through Congress would tax at 3.5% all the money sent to Mexico. Think about that. So they get paid under the table. They get a 3.5% tax rate. I work my tail off, employ people, do all of those things, and I get a 59% treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that just absolutely crazy? I also found it interesting that in Compton, California, Compton Chicago street gang leaders put out a clip on social media declaring that area of Compton a riot-free zone. According to multiple reports, they said without exception, violators will be executed on the spot. So gangs are saying, don't bring that shit here.
Oh, we're
to
gonna
their
kill you.
neighborhoods. Yeah, you got gang crazy. Thought the Marines were protecting federal property. That's legit. They can protect federal property, but I don't think they have the authority to arrest a U.S. citizen. I don't think so. You know what? If we get time before this is up, Grateful Hearts Ranch, I'll bring up the Insurrection Act, and we can read it together. But I don't think so. Anyway, I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but I'm sure you have. Tomorrow in America, we don't do kings. The left is planning a rise up all across the county on June 14th. They're calling it a nationwide day of defiance. On June the 14th, we will rise up. They're calling it the No Kings Festival. It's scheduled everywhere. Tomorrow is just a great day to stay home, folks. Every single state's affected. I don't know if this is all just marketing and no one's going to show up, or if it's truly going to be this big day. But looking at what's going on the internet tonight, I have another screen beside me, and those news stories roll. There's protesting everywhere, all over the country. And so it would seem to me likely that you're at least going to get some of it. We shall see. The next live should be interesting because by then, I will have, seen it all. I think these NGOs should be investigated. Tax-free status should be revoked and funds confiscated if found guilty. I agree 100%. Yep, Juneteenth.
Oh, it's tomorrow, Juneteenth?
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, tomorrow next week will be Juneteenth, I think. Anyway, I don't know if you guys seen this, but the No Kings June 14th rally, there was an ad taken out, and it has been paid for by Christy Walton, as you can see, the 19th. Christy Walton, which is the heir to Walmart, has been funding some of this. And so Walmart has kind of tried to dodge it a little bit, but there's, lots of calls for boycotting Walmart, which I think we should be doing anyway, and start shopping at our little mom and pops and try to bring them back. But, okay. And then at the exact same time as tomorrow, and I'm sure you guys know this, it's the 250th anniversary of the United States Army and Trump's birthday. And so Trump says anyone who listen to the statement, anyone who protests his $45 million birthday parade will face a heavy force. Just so everybody knows, it's in your constitutional rights to protest peacefully, right? Trump regime tanks destroy DC streets. The parade will have 6,600 soldiers, helicopters, and 150 vehicles. And again, the estimates are about $45 million. When questioned upon it, though, Trump did say that he was going to pay for part of it. what he said. How would we?
Ridiculous.
You know, I could just think of better ways to spend $45 million. When they asked him about it, he said, "Oh, that's pocket change." Right. What if you took
not to all of us?
What if you took that $45 million and gave it to the veterans who bled for this country? Right, in celebration of the time of year that it is, and in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the Army.
Yeah.
Or better yet, why don't we take that $250 million and give it to the spouses of those who didn't come home, so that they get to live a secure life the rest of their life? How about we do that?
Yeah.
You know, how about we take that $45 million and put food forests in every school in America? Yeah, Mo says, so Pride Month, Juneteenth, Free Gaza, immigration rights, and Trump parade. How will the protesters keep their chants straight? I don't know. I do not know, bud. I just do not know. It is just a lot, just a lot to deal with. But we're not the only ones. I don't know if you guys are following the exact same things that are going on. For example, this is France, right? Let's see here. Christy Walton's deceased husband was the heir, but he died in a homemade plane crash. She got the inheritance until... Yeah. Anyway, so this is France. What's going on there? This is also France, right? This reminds you of the pictures that are almost exactly that are coming out of LA and, some of the other places. But no, this is France. So it's happening there too. These are two pictures. One is in Ireland and the other one's in Egypt.
Good grief.
Ironically enough, right? And obviously, don't forget there's actually wars going on in places too, right? All over the place. Stuff's just nuts. But in case you wanted something even more interesting, talk about. I actually think my buddy Mo sent me this one. Hegseth's army chief says there's an American soldier on the moon. Yeah, I said that. Hegseth's army chief says there's an American soldier on the moon. While President Trump's Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth testifies at the congressional hearing this week, U.S. Secretary of the Army Dan Driscoll appeared on Fox News. Driscoll spoke about the Army's recruitment tactics and promoted the upcoming military parade in Washington, D.C., which will be held on Saturday, June 14th, on Trump's 79th birthday. Driscoll said, as young Americans across the country get to see all of the amazing things that the Army has done, whether it's helping with the floods in North Carolina or wildfires in California, or we talked to an astronaut yesterday who's on the moon, who's a soldier. Have you heard about any moon trips lately? No. I didn't. And guys, this is all over the news. This is, at least all the mainstream news networks are carrying this story. Yeah. Gratitude for grace. 100% people have lost their ever-loving minds. Yep. And some of us are running to the moon.
And yeah, did he misspeak or does he know something we don't know?
This one hit me out of left field. Sorry, until the son was of age, she ran crazy weird with the philanthropy angle, funding really odd things. Yeah. Maybe she's funding soldiers going to the moon.
Yeah.
What do you think? Isn't that odd?
Well, there's probably a war up there. That's why there's soldiers.
Who knows? Yeah. Let's see here. Per MSM, Department of Homeland Security said that it is notifying 100,000 plus Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans that their temporary permission to live and work in the United States has been revoked. That'll make them happy. Oh, craziness. Oh, cool. I'm done with that one. That's pretty cool. So what do you think about what's going on all over the U.S.? I ain't got the world
A lot
yet.
of crap.
Yeah, turn the light on. How about that? Yeah, but what do you? I mean, there ain't anything we can do about it, right?
Stay focused.
Yeah, well,
keep on keeping on.
Yeah, there's other things we can do, right?
Grow your food.
Carry your firearm.
Yeah.
Right.
Get to know your neighbors.
Don't let your tank fall beneath a half tank of gas.
Mm.
Right. Get to know your neighbors. That's a
don't
great
go
one.
anywhere after dark.
Yeah. Don't put yourself in a bad situation.
Yeah.
I think that's all good stuff. Make sure you don't have a week's worth of food in the house, that you've got something substantial that you could bunker down for a little bit.
That you know how to use the ingredients.
That's good.
You're like, crap, what do I do with these things?
Make sure you know how to air up a tire. Critical.
Yes. Right?
Critical. Anything else? Do you think of to be important? Up your game and your situational awareness.
I was going to say travel in pairs.
Yeah, travel in pairs is a good one, but situational awareness is a big deal. You know, when we pull up to a store, like where you have to go somewhere, and we pull up to a store, I'm taking a second to look around, around me, see what's going on. When we go into a store and be shopping, her job is to shop and my job is to keep it safe. And I'm going to stand 6 feet back and I'm going to pay attention to what's going on around us so that me and the people I care the most about are going home that day.
Yeah.
And we're not going to put ourselves in a bad, situation. Let's see here. No slides on Israel and Iran conflict going on. Oh, you mean like that slide deck? Oh yeah, I'm just not there yet. Nitos, I would not let you down. I have a whole bunch of them actually. Right? Yep, head on a swivel for sure. Mo says, keep a fresh supply of ATV seats for the cows.
Oh.
See, I love that level of
It's
intelligence.
just the cushion. I gotta upholster it better.
Yep, stay fit and healthy. Keep meds on hand. Yeah, Brett says, keep your powder dry. Yeah, Misty is here, and we've been making recipes out of my pantry all week. Even tried a new buttery tortilla recipe. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. I think we need to buckle down. I think we need to stop worrying about the silly stuff, and I think what we really need to spend our time doing is focusing on how are we all going to get through the winter. Just something like that. Focusing on how we're going to grow enough food. What food do you have already in preparations for 2026? 2027.
What's the plan?
What are you hatching? What do you, and really start to focus in on that and not, a million other insignificant things that don't mean nothing anyway. Right. When it's all said and done. That's what I think we need to be doing. Starla wants to know if we've made zucchini brownies.
No.
Zucchini bread. Yeah. All stocked up. Just got to get the Loper on that garden. Loper. It would really, really help Loper if she wasn't killing the horseradish, right? That's okay. Loper, don't feel bad. B has waterboarded chickens.
It was an accident.
Of course it was.
I was loving it.
Hey, look at that. We have a special guest tonight. Jules Parsons is in the house. And Parsons Road is a Christian music group, travels all over. They do great music, like-minded, have a YouTube channel. So if there's a mod in the audience tonight, which there usually is, if you would put that YouTube link out there, I would gladly share it. Jules, welcome in. Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about the rest of what's going on.
I thought that was it.
Oh no, we just talked about the United States.
Nito's opened her mouth.
Yeah, Nito's got it right. So I don't know if you guys remember or not, but if you guys look at the date of this article, it was dated on 11 April 2025. Donald Trump tells Iran to make a deal or it's going to be war. In fact, he went on to say, I give you 60 days. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Well, guess what happened 61 days later? Hold on. Before I tell you that, though, at the same time, before I tell you what happened, Tulsi Gabbard went on and warned about nuclear holocaust in a chilling 3-minute plea. Did you see this?
No.
So she went on to talk about, she visited Nagasaki and Hiroshima, about the real threats of nuclear war, blah, 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 and had this big old heartfelt thing. And then exactly 61 days after Trump's threat, the Israeli Air Force is striking Iran's capital of Tehran. It would be speculation for me to say it, but I'm willing to bet these strikes are initial targeting air defenses. Huge missile strikes hit the Iranian capital of Tehran. Israel is stating that this is a preemptive strike against both military and nuclear targets. Israel has also just declared a state of emergency, at the dark day for the entire world. Initial reports indicate explosions at 2 of Iran's main nuclear facilities. And I can tell you that as of right now, I've gotten reports that they have now crippled 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities. Israel Minister of Defense declares a special state of emergency in the home front throughout the entire state of Israel, following the state of Israel's preemptive strike on Iran. A missile and drone attack against the state of Israel and its civilian population is expected in the immediate future. Now, guys, these slides are from, just happened yesterday, and a lot's changed as I'll go. It's so funny. I was uploading this and changing stuff at the last minute because so much was going on. Israel's now also started targeting the ports in Iran. Middle East war alert after this Israel strikes on Iran's capital of Tehran. At the end of this operation, Israel says there will be no nuclear threat. Israel then went on to close its airspace and officially, I thought you guys would find this interesting, canceled the Pride March that was scheduled for this weekend. Let me see here. Iran is on borrowed time. God grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Yep. I went to a county meet hoping to get enlightened, came away with a wealthy control things no matter how stupid they are. The money rules. Yes, it does. Hey, Sons of Hacks, how are you? Bessie, welcome in. All right, guys, there's Parsons Road's YouTube channel right there. Go check them out. I have had conversations with Jules about coming out for one of our festivals out here because I'd love to just hang out. And, it's, I don't even know how we ran into each other, but very early in my YouTube life, and I think it was fairly early in their YouTube life too, somehow one of us seen the other's channels, and we talked a little bit back then, and now I've just always kind of followed them and listened to it. So, guys, everybody should go check it out. And, make sure you tell them that Tag sent you. Good channel. Okay, where in the world am I at? How about Israel says Mossad? This is super important. Israel says Mossad carried out several assassination operations. So they're saying that a lot of the upper Iranian leadership has now been killed. The chief of the Iranian general staff was killed, along with a lot of the nuclear scientists. Mossad remotely launched pre-deployed drones from a secret base inside Iran. Times of Israel is citing a security source. The kamikaze drones hit the missile launchers, blah, blah, blah. The reason why this is important, does anybody think that it's interesting that Israel can get into Iran, sleeper cells, launch drones, all of those things close up, use the Mossad to do that, but on October the 7th, we're caught completely off guard? I kind of have a hard time buying that that's all true. I could absolutely be wrong, but yeah. Anyway, they said in the past the nuclear facilities were so far buried that they couldn't be reached with conventional missiles or even tactical nukes. I wonder what changed. Well, I was watching a video today earlier, Mo, where they were doing bunker busters like 4 in a row. One, and then 15 seconds later, one, and then 15 seconds later, one. I think maybe trying to, penetrate that. Everyone in Iran that would have been in the meeting this morning to figure out how to respond to all of it are dead. The Iranian chief of staff, the head of their drone program, the head of their National Security Council, and the head of the Revolutionary Guard Council. This attack shows complete intelligence and dominance by Israel. Yep, absolutely crazy. Moving on. Jets and sonic booms have been heard over northern Iraq. Trump conveying an emergency cabinet meeting as Israel strikes Iran. So Trump is saying that he did not bless off on this. I kind of have a hard time believing that, especially now that there are many reports that we are helping them shoot down the incoming missiles that are now being launched from Iran into Israel, which I'll get to. But anyway, the United States is now on high alert in anticipation of the strike. Something a little bit alarming to me, I thought, is Senator Ted Cruz says nuclear bombs could be detonated above New York. This is what creates an EMP, and EMP Shield actually stole their post, the quoting Ted Cruz, but to even talk like that's ridiculous in my opinion. And I mean, America's pretty weak right now. I tell you that for sure. Donald Trump just told Fox News that unfortunately some of the Iranian leaders won't be returning to the negotiating table. They were killed. U.S. and U.K. jets join Israel. 100+ Iranian drones inbound as sirens hit U.S. bases. American and British fighter jets are now actively intercepting Iranian drones. So after Israel struck Iran, today Iran begins to launch back. A couple of very interesting things I wanted to point out. First, when Israel bombed Iran last night, there wasn't a lot of interference. And what they were talking about was that they hacked the launch systems and all that. So Iran couldn't defend itself, but today they seem to be defending themselves just fine. I've watched a lot of video. Many missiles are hitting in Tel Aviv, and there's innocent people dying all over the place on both sides for what? Right? For someone's political agenda. And either way, I think it's, pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that. News said the other day that this is the best strategic time for Israel since they took down much of their air defenses earlier. I don't like any of it. Iran is preparing to close the Strait of Hormuz. And if they do close the strait, guys, that would be very bad. I don't know if you guys watched, but last night when Israel started its attack on Iran, 30 minutes later, oil prices were up 10%. And so that would definitely have an impact. Fox News reports that Iran is blaming both Israel and the United States for the attack. This is the IRGC's statement. It says, quote, Israel will pay a heavy price for its attack on Iran. The Israel attack was carried out with the full knowledge and support of the wicked rulers in the White House and the terrorist U.S. regime. They are not focused just on Israel. They're focusing on Washington and the United States. Iran military posted that everyone will feel it. Later, they went on and continued to post, this was not a mere demonstration of technological capability. This time, our response will be lethal. And you guys can see in the top right hand, that's pictures of Tel Aviv.
That's
tonight. Yep. If you look all the way on the right, on the bottom right hand corner, those are the strikes that have been targeted inside Israel today and just today.
And they're like on top of each other.
Yep.
The whole place.
Yep. Most says 20% of the world's oil comes through that strait. Yep. Reports indicate now that Iran has fired off around 100 ballistic missiles into Israel, and that 5 of 7 made it through the layered missile defense. I'm going to tell you guys that by the time I uploaded this 30 minutes before the live, and the reports right now on my other screen is over 300 ballistic missiles have been fired into Israel. And if it's true that 5 of every 7 landed, there's a lot of dead people tonight. A lot. Brett Boyd said, I'm not happy with what's going on. This is our military doing this, at minimum, our stuff. There is no way they're not doing that without the help of the United States. The European Union came out today and said they will be sending Israel planes, weapons, blah, blah, blah. Actually, another interesting thing, there are several reports out that China and Russia have offered help to Iran. And also, I could not confirm that, but what I could confirm tonight is that Russia at the UN gave a formal speech condemning Israel's actions today. And so this has, guys, the ability to really spiral out of control and really spiral out of control fast. Let's suppose for a minute that Israel is getting hammered, like really, really hammered to a point they might lose their country. Would they send up a nuke? Would they end it? Would you end it for your survival? Because I would.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I would do whatever it took to support my family. And then the flip side of that, you get Russia and China involved, and now you got America drug in. Here's the other thing that's crazy. America now is fighting 2 very expensive wars, one in the Ukraine and one in Iran, not to mention deploying federal troops on the home front and dealing with what they're claiming to be is 1,500 protests tomorrow all over the country, at the same time celebrating Trump's birthday and the birthday of the United States Army with a big military parade. Yeah, it's for all of the things that we've talked about tonight, there's a lot of stuff going on that really makes you go, it would not take much, Let's see here. Instigator says, doing something I haven't done in about a year or so, updating the database and scan list on my digital scanner. Just have an idea of things getting weird tomorrow or Monday. I agree. And I don't know if it's what's going to happen. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but I can tell you that what's going on in America with the protests will affect every single one of us. I promise you this. And what's going over here affects us too. At the very least, it's economically. You'd like to think that cooler heads at some point will prevail, but they won't, right? I mean, you guys see Putin backing down?
No.
You see Benjamin Netanyahu backing down, the supreme leader of Iran backing? I really don't either. Let's see here. Our finer prints are all over Ukraine. Ever wonder why no reporter were on the ground to report it live? I do think that's an interesting point, Brett, that you don't see a lot of footage out of Ukraine, but we're seeing all kinds of footage out of Israel and Iran. And why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
You tell me. Because it's all speculation, right? Starlet says, Tag, do you think Trump is trying to accomplish a regime change in Iran? I think this is not going to be a very popular answer, but back in the early 90s, the United States government picked out 7 regimes that they thought could maybe be a potential for regime change. And they war gamed and then built war plans for all 7 of those countries. And the only one that still exists is Iran. So the longer this goes on and the more I watch Trumpy boy violate the Constitution and the more I watch the other side do it and the more I watch all of this stuff, I become less and less connected to any of it. And the more I think this is just a preset game and, it's bread and circus. And
you're just getting ready for the reset. That's
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the whole, I can go on and on.
Yep. Hippocrates says expensive wars. Don't you mean profitable ones? For some people. Expensive for others like you and me, right? Gary Davis says heavy. There's a lot going on, you guys. Tag, you're right. War and more war. How much war can the U.S. afford? We forgot about the sleeper Mexico. Oh, and don't forget the 10 million military age men who've come across the border. Don't forget about the Chinese-owned land that have many of them have shipping containers all over them, which happen to be next to many military bases. Do you think the little drone thing that happened from the Ukraine where they flew out of the back of a container and bombed all these places can only happen there? I mean, yeah, ugly. Happening now. Eyewitnesses are reporting that Iran has officially struck the nuclear facility in Israel now. Not only did Israel bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Iran has now bombed them in Israel. Breaking news, Israeli jet shot down over Iran. Iran military confirms that they have downed an Israeli fighter jet. It apparently is 2, well, at this time, was 2 of America's top of the line F-35 fighter jets. Big surprise that one of the pilots is a woman. And the Iranians are reporting now that they have captured her, and it was an American woman. Again, the Iranians, they have lots of propaganda, so it's hard to believe. This report was true at the time that I uploaded this 30 minutes before the live. The report right now is that they have shot down 8 of Israel's fighter jets, 2 F-35s and some F-16s and some F-18s. But if it's true that Iran's air defense system is shooting down F-35s, I think that's a big statement. An F-35 is supposed to be pretty oblivious to that kind of thing. Yeah, I feel bad for that pilot. Could you imagine a female assuming that's true, a female American pilot being captured in an Islamic country? That ain't gonna end well. Health Ranger had a really interesting. Am I getting close yet? Okay, good. Health Ranger had a really interesting little segment I wanted to read you guys because I think it was just really, really interesting. Health Ranger says 4 threats to America are emerging at the same time. Outbreak of war with Iran. Check. And he wrote this prior to the attack. Okay. Outbreak of war with Iran. Escalation with war in Russia due to an unexpected retaliatory strike. Russia came to Iran's aid today. Talked a bunch of shit. Putin even joked about this would be a good time. Domestic war with violent Marxist rioters who will spread across all 50 cities this Saturday, and then the potential of conflict with China if China sees America as weak. Well, and I don't know how they wouldn't see us as weak. Right? I mean, I absolutely don't know. And I think Brett to add to this here, when you're talking about the Marxists that are out there rioting and protesting, cartel is now worldwide with China's help. There are reports of cartels infiltrating Indian reservations on the United States to avoid law enforcement and to be able to run some of their drug trafficking or their sex trafficking or whatever it is. So this could be deep in the heartland because many of those reservations would be, in the center of the United States. Yeah, Starlit Oak said they have a female Israeli in Iran custody from a downed F-35. I read that too.
That's what.
Okay, let's continue on. At the same time, U.S. soldiers are largely not ready, and many of them are even many of them aren't even fit. Munitions have been largely depleted because almost everything has been sent to the Ukraine or Israel, and the domestic military manufacturing infrastructure is a pale shadow of what it once was. This leaves America extremely vulnerable to domestic warfare, and it renders the U.S. military incapable of defeating the enemies within. That's probably why the worst traitors and enemies of America are choosing this time to wage domestic warfare. It will rapidly and violently spread, and even deploying U.S. soldiers across every major U.S. city will barely make a dent in the massive numbers of military-age men who illegally invaded the U.S. thanks to traitors like Biden, Mayorkas, and the Democrats who openly allowed the invasion of America by millions who poured across our borders. Ultimately, to really fight the domestic invasion, Trump or state governments are going to have to deputize millions of armed Americans, veterans, former law enforcement, emergency responders, etc., to defend their own territory. All the traitors, Mayorkas, Newsom, etc., will also have to be arrested, prosecuted, and removed from power. All law enforcement will have to be granted new rules and engagements to do things like shoot looters on sight. And what's interesting about that, I don't know if you guys seen this, Florida's, some of the politicians in Florida this morning was saying, okay, you guys come to Florida to riot. If you loot, we're going to shoot. Quote. Which I find
we'll shoot.
Yep, which I find super interesting. And by the way, also not constitutional. Other similar serious measures. Those who attempt to set fire to cars will have to be lit up themselves, and anyone engaging in physical violent attacks on law enforcement or soldiers will need to be instantly dealt with. No trial, no corrupt DA to bail them out, and no corrupt left-wing judges to order them released. Remember, too, that non-living individuals no longer count on the U.S. Census. Yes, it's going to get messy, but the war started 20 years ago with the weaponized migration, just like Michael Yon warned. We are only now seeing the activation results of the 20-year war that has been ongoing, spanning multiple presidents. Prepare accordingly and have full, and it goes on to say he'll have full coverage on Thursday. I don't agree with a lot. I mean, I don't disagree. This is the super dangerous slope. We have the right to due process. The Fourth Amendment guarantees that right to due process, which is why you can't shoot a protester on sight, right. Which is why you can't shoot a lure. They get their day in court. And when you start bypassing the checks and balances of the Constitution, guys, the Constitution was not put in for the benefit of the government. It was put in for the benefit of the people.
Right.
And when we start allowing those things to be surpassed for the greater good, you end up locked down with a vaccine in you.
Or maybe shot because they thought you were looting.
Yep. G. John says an ideal time for China to go to Taiwan. Ugh. Pat says Luke 21:20, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, 25, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity. And I wonder if he's referring to all of the volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and solar flares that have been going on lately. The sea and the waves roaring, men's heart failing them for fear and looking after those things which are coming to the earth. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth near. Hey, Jules says things are definitely turning, I believe. We got to be ready physically and spiritually. We have moved our bus over to Alabama. Travel near Atlanta tomorrow. You guys be super, 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 super careful. Hey, all the prayer warriors out here in the audience, and there's many of them. Make sure you guys keep Jules and Parsons Road in your prayers as they travel through Atlanta tomorrow. Yeah, Jules says, yep, Bible coming to pass. And David says, Judge Dredd. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is not okay. I appreciate what they're saying, and I appreciate it in good faith. I mean, this is what they're saying, but without those, what constrains the government if we allow them to bypass our constitutional rights? We don't get to have freedom and safety. You got to pick one of them. You can't have both. You can't. It's impossible. Innocent people are going to die if you have a society based upon freedom, but they're going to die if you have one based upon security too. You know, take the time to go around if you can. Oh, at Jules, yeah. This is when a knowledge of safe spot on lengthy travels is good to have and know. Oh, what a great point, Instigator. Get to know, build community. Community is a gigantic thing.
Yeah.
Right. Get to know as many people as you can from this online community we have right here. You know, I'd like to get to know as many of,
Like
you,
along the
of
way.
you guys as I can for that exact reason, right? For that absolute exact reason. So you know that there's a warm meal somewhere, there's a dry bed somewhere, right? There's help somewhere. Yeah, what a great point. Half Bubble Off Plum says that's our Sheriff Grady Judd and Sheriff Ivy DeSantis even spoke about it. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I couldn't agree more. And again, but that's the thing, Half Bubble Off Plum, it's wrong. It's just wrong. And you'd have a hard time convincing me that shooting someone who's looting is the right idea.
Yeah.
They have a right to due process. That's what protects us from the government. You can make the argument, but they seen them. Okay. Said they seen them.
Well, and you don't know what the circumstances are.
You
too,
don't.
either.
This is why we get due process. I do not agree with this. I do not agree with them sending military troops to arrest U.S. civilians. There's a reason why the Constitution was so weary about standing armies inside of our country. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then shame on you. You need to get your Constitution out and read it. Right? Instigator said, Freesteaders Railroad. Yeah. And David says, my freedoms doesn't end where your fear begins. 100%.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
100%. Yep. Yeah, Starla says, I'm going to Tamara's very shortly. You guys, anybody traveling, please travel safe. Please travel safe. And don't forget, as parting news, as we get out of here tonight, that if Tom actually killed Jerry, the show would be over. Right? This is the reason the other party never fixes anything. And when they're in power, right? The reason why Tom never caught Jerry is so they could have another episode. They're going to kill American citizens, blame it on Iran, and use it as an excuse to get more Americans killed, said Apolitical. My buddy Billy from Permapasture Farm says we are definitely in false flag season. Buckle up, because in the United States of amnesia, everything that unfolds will be blamed on Iran. Doesn't matter if it's a power outage, a pigeon flying sideways, or your Wi-Fi going down. Somehow it's going to be Tehran's fault. Matt Wallace said, urgent warning, my intel suggests that the Israel government is planning a massive strike on false flag attacks across multiple major U.S. cities. They will make it look like it was Iran. Former CIA Director Mike Pompeo warns that the major incident could occur somewhere in the world and suggests that Iran would be behind it. The Health Ranger says, watch Israel carry out a false flag kabooming of a symbolic U.S. building and blame it on the pro-Palestinian, pro-Iran protesters in order to dominate the news narrative and convince the Americans to go to war with Iran. It worked on 9/11, didn't it? The script is so obvious. Yeah. The truth is, guys, I don't know. That's the truth. You know, my programming growing up makes me want to believe Israel's doing the right thing. I'm not so sure I believe that anymore, you know, and I don't think Iran's right either. I mean, I'm not pro-Iran or Israel. I want to be pro-American. Super, super hard. Starla says that Israel has launched strikes on Tehran's Pashtur neighborhood where the residents of Iranian president, and the Supreme Leader. Yep, I seen that earlier. I just couldn't get it in the live. Us and our Mexican neighbors will be keeping an eye up and down our street. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let's see here. Actually, we will be in Dallas for a little bit. University of Texas, Southwestern Simmons Cancer Center on to Tamara's. Just be safe. It's almost like Health Ranger knows who runs the news. Yeah, it's something like that, right? Right. I think Israeli government is also corrupt. I think the whole world is corrupt. I think every government pretty much is corrupt. I don't know if there's an honest one out there, and they prey on you and me and the people for the betterment of themselves. You know, they don't care about spreading freedom anymore. They care about oil and power and money. And, you know, they don't mind sending your daughters and your sons to die, but, you know, they certainly won't send their own. And so I think we have to count on ourselves, and we have to lead it up to ourselves, right? Yeah. To do something about it. Okay, Leela, this is a very important topic. I was going to end it, but I want to address this one. Leela says someone has to stop Iran from getting nukes because we dropped the ball years ago. So why is it that it's okay for Israel to have nukes, but it's not okay for Iran to have them? Is it because Iran told you they were bad? Because Israel told you they were bad? I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know, Leela. We don't know who's spread what propaganda over what years. I think it's absolutely ironic that countries like the United States and Israel have the balls to say to another country, we can have this, but you can't.
You can't.
I mean, that's not how that works. So, you know, I would have to respectfully kind of disagree with this in that, you know, I think everybody should get rid of all their nukes. How about we do that? You know? Yeah, David says, once we understand that almost all countries are corporations, their corruption becomes super obvious. Yeah, I'm fortunate that my work provides a list of all the upcoming protests in the U.S. cities before I travel. Last one was pretty full. Yep. Should make it mandatory that if war passes through our government, then each one has to have a child or grandchild on the front lines. Our children aren't disposable, except they've been disposable forever and ever and ever and ever. You know, guys, we're going to get out of here. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes. But before we go, I know B has got some really smart stuff to say. Yeah, about
don't hold your breath. Well, learn to change your own tires.
Or at least air them up.
Air them up. Yeah.
Right.
Kind of set a bead.
Yep.
Yep. No, I was going to say too, you know, last week I said basically yoke up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find your people, you know, yoke up is still part of it. Find your people, get focused and stop letting the petty stuff get in your way. Let go of all that little stuff that doesn't matter when in the grand scheme of things, there are really big things that we need to be focused on and be aware of. And you need to know your community, your neighbors and have a plan.
Yeah, I think I can take that a step further. You know, make amends with your brother. Make amends with your sister. Make amends with your mom and your dad. Make amends with your kids. Make amends with your community members. Make amends with your neighbors. Because if that stuff starts falling here, guys, if that stuff starts happening here, and I promise you it can, if it starts happening here, you won't even remember those things.
Right. It will be so insignificant.
Matter
who got more cereal.
That's right. Let's stop worrying about, you know, that. Who likes a Democrat and who likes a Republican? Who cares?
Right.
Just quit caring about what color of skin we have, what our nationality is, or what even our religious beliefs are.
Right.
And let's get focused on how we're going to get through the winter. Let's get focused on how we're going to grow enough food, and let's try to get those perspectives aligned in front of us instead of all of the stuff that they stick out there to distract us and to keep you and I hating each other.
Right.
And I promise you, I may disagree with many of you from time to time. I don't hate any one of you. I wish you nothing but absolutely the best. Good night, everybody. Hold the line.
Be out.
Be out. Tag out. We'll see everybody.